Hello friends, Winterized Worm here to talk about a very cold subject. Bungie has given players, a certain group of players, an icy treatment this time around with the recent changes that came last Tuesday. Of course, as you probably guessed on screen, I'm talking about stasis here and how they absolutely obliterated the stasis subclass in PvE particularly. We're talking about PvE. Now, I know there's a lot of talk about PvP, the damage reduction from 15 to 5%. That's, in my opinion, not a big deal. I don't hardly see any stasis titans out there in PvP. The only ones I see in PvP are actually like maybe Ice Clan, which you encounter them once in a blue moon, right? Like nobody uses stasis because stasis is not really, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say nobody. What I should say is nobody uses stasis titan because this nerf, even though it was a general nerf, it was specifically directed towards titans, I feel like. And I think that is absolutely ridiculous because as a stasis lover, stasis is not my main titan subclass, but I would say it is probably my third most used. I would say Strand currently, then Arc, then Stasis. But you could make an argument for Stasis and Arc being used about equally here. At any rate, they absolutely butchered the build. They butchered the build completely, and I have it pulled up here. Let me get it over here. Specifically, what we're talking about here is the nerf to Whisper of Rhyme, because Whisper of Rhyme is what made these builds good. And I've actually got gameplay going on in the background, so you can see, the build in action. But this is why. Okay, why Bungie? Why would you change this? Like, this was not an issue in PvP. Like, if you ever try to do this in Grandmaster, you get destroyed, right? Like, I would take this build, this particular build I'm using here, which, again, kind of focuses around Whisper of Rhyme, and put it in any type of PvE activity that is even remotely difficult, and it doesn't work. Okay, you're watching some 1770 Nightfall gameplay here, and the build it's not working like it's not working like it used to, right? And this is the only stasis build that I would do on Titan. Like, Titan, of course, is the behemoth. The whole point of it is crystals. Okay, you make crystals, you destroy the crystals, you get overshield, kind of the cycle right there. You also get some other stuff, blah blah blah. But this nerf here absolutely killed it. So let's go over exactly what they did real quick. They reduced the max overshield amount from 100 HP to 50 HP, which is, you can feel that in game. I mean, I don't think in playing with it for the couple of activities that I did today, I don't think that I ever was able to get a full stasis overshield, outside of, like, obviously when there's no combatants around. And I understand that, like, oh, you can't get a full one, that would be broken or busted or whatever. I don't even think I could get more than a third of an overshield. Like, as soon as I would shatter crystals, that overshield was gone because it took so much damage. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. But the other reason why I could not get a full overshield, or even up to half overshield, was because this one right here. They reduced the overshield gain per stasis shard from 12.5 to 5 HP. Oh, I don't understand this. Like what good is it going to do to give you 5 HP, right? Every time you pick up a shard. Like, you pick up a stasis, or what is it, a glacier grenade, that makes, 5 crystals. You pick up 5 shards, that's 25 HP. However, with players dealing 50% damage to that, it's effectively like giving you 12.5 HP, right? Like if I'm doing the conversions in my head right, which I don't know if I am, but if I'm doing the conversions in my head correctly, one stasis grenade will give you 12.5 HP, right? And that's it's ridiculous. I mean, this is overkill. This slaughtered any sort of stasis titan builds that anybody had, because I've never seen somebody use stasis titan with Diamond Lance, with any other build besides a Hoarfrost build. Like, I'm sure y'all are out there. I'm sure that somebody who uses stasis will swear by Heart of Inmost Light or something like that, but it's kind of ridiculous. And I know this was targeted specifically at PvE players, because this, like, I mean, they made this change to the Whisper of Chains, right? Whisper of Chains is supposed to be for like PvP. You know, oh, well, you know, it's a problematic in PvP, blah, blah, blah. This 90% of the changes here, 90% of these changes, okay, all to the Whisper of Rime affect PvE only, right? I don't know. It's so frustrating. Like, Bungie has this habit of kicking people while they're down. Like stasis is not a good subclass. I will stand by that. I'll die on that hill. Stasis is not a good subclass. Stasis, I would say, is not even in the top like 3 best subclasses in the game. I would say stasis, out of all the subclasses for Titan especially, probably 4th or 5th place, next to Solar, and even Solar has some really decent builds. Stasis is very, very weak. Stasis is not at all an in-game subclass to be using, and Bungie treats it like, oh my gosh, like this was so powerful. Like Bungie's acting like, you know, their nerf here shows me that they think that, oh my gosh, like people are just abusing stasis and living forever and just staying alive and blah, 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 blah. Like, you already took the power out of our builds when you got rid of elemental wells, right? Like this exact build that I'm using here, back when it had elemental wells, it was perfect, right? Because stasis shards, when you picked them up, there was a mod that you could count them as elemental shards. So you'd get back a little bit of all your abilities every time you'd pick up a stasis shard. Then they nerfed it so that you didn't get back energy every single time you got a stasis shard. There's like a little cooldown, you know. So like you know, out of a glacier grenade, only one of them would actually count towards, you know, building that grenade back up, right? And then they go and remove elemental charge elemental well mods from the game, which again butchered the build, but you know, players like myself were able to piece it back together. Okay, you know, we'll use grenade kickstart, we'll use this, that, and the other, and it'll be all good. And then they go and do this. It's like Bungie is trying to kill stasis. And I don't know why, because stasis is a fun subclass, but ever since the launch of Strand, stasis is kind of irrelevant, in my opinion. I mean, Strand Titan does everything that stasis Titan does, but like better, right? I mean, you know, Dringer's Lash, especially with Abiant Leap, does everything stasis does, but better, right? Because with stasis, you know, you freeze an enemy, they're frozen for, you know, what is it, like 7 seconds, I think, or something like that, versus suspending an enemy, they're stuck in suspend for at least 10 seconds, and I think 12 if you have the fragment on, right? Not only that, but a frozen target takes less damage from heavies and primary ammo weapons. Like, I get why they did that when it first launched, but come on, like, did they seriously not think that Strand would immediately dethrone stasis? Like, immediately dethrone stasis because of that aspect right there. Like, I don't know what Bungie's thing is against stasis. Like, is it because at one point stasis was absolute hell to go against? Because at one point, for those of y'all who may have missed it, for one point way back in what was it, when stasis first launched, like at Beyond Light, for that first week, stasis was like in a busted state. I mean, you want to talk about being every time you get frozen or freeze an enemy, they were frozen for a long time. The shatter damage was insane, you know. And in the Crucible, of course, you had shatter, you know, shatter dive, for example. You'd have, you know, warlocks with their freezing grenades, and Titan with behemoth with a disgusting like 80% damage resistance or something insane like that. Like, yeah, I get why they nerfed it, but they continue to kick it while it's on the bottom already, and I don't get it. Because this, like, the changes they made here, they like you know, the Whisper of Rime build that I have that you're seeing in the background here, this did not work in Grandmaster content. Okay, or to make it work in Grandmaster, you had to play very, very carefully, very, very specifically, and even then, it just didn't work, because this is kind of a you know, subclass, or so to speak, or build that was. It wasn't about damage output. It wasn't about, you know, ad clear, anything like that. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's, you know, in Grandmasters, when it was in its glory, it wasn't good. Hey, this season, up before last week's patch, it wasn't good in high level content. Now it's been killed. I don't even want to use it in 1770 Nightfalls. I don't want to use it in regular strikes. Why? Why is this a thing, Bungie? Why do you continue to insist on destroying stasis? Okay, and it's, you know, it's no surprise. Like, we know that Bungie will destroy builds. You know, if there's a build that's really, really good, like, it's going to get destroyed at some point. We know that. We kind of expect that. But why destroy a build that really didn't have any problems? Okay, all these change. If you change all this in PvP only, I would stand behind it. Okay, you know, in PvP, reduce the max overshield from 100 to 50. Like, that's fine. You know, reduce the overshield gain from 12.5 to 5. That's fine. Like, I understand doing that in PvE or in PvP stuff. But in PvE, come on, man. And here's the kicker, right? Let me pull this up here one more time. I don't think that this is some, you know, bug or something that, oh, this was supposed to only apply to PvP, but accidentally is applying to PvE. No. Because right here under Whisper change, they specifically mentioned PvP. This was a change of PvP from 15 to 5%, right? Nowhere in here under Whisper of Rhyme was it mentioned that this was supposed to be PvP only. So I don't think that this was supposed to be some PvP only thing. Like, I think this was PvE and PvP, and it's very, very upsetting. It is very frustrating that Bungie nerfs builds that are really fun. They're really fun. They're not super strong. Okay, like, it would be like, you know, Bungie nerfing the point contact cannon brace with Monte Carlo. Like, that's a fun build. Is it good? No, I would never take that into Grandmaster Nightfall, because it'd be silly to do that. But it'd be like, oh, we're gonna nerf it because it's fun. You know, me personally, this is my thought process. If something is fun to use in low level content or unleveled content, why touch it at all? Unless it's literally breaking the game. Like, oh, I have unlimited heavy because of a bug. You know, this is not that. Okay, this was a fun build that worked in low level content, and now it doesn't. And now it doesn't. And like, you know, if you're watching the gameplay back here, like, you'll see that I can't get the overshield up. I mean, destroying all those crystals just then I just destroyed didn't even get me to half overshield. Like, I don't know, it's ridiculous. I think that it's Bungie at their worst right now. But I want to hear your thoughts on it. Like, what are your opinions on the whole changes to this stasis? Like, are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Do you think it was necessary? Or do you think Bungie did what they seem to always do and overkilled it by 25 billion degrees? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I'm frustrated about it. I was going to do a whole different topic today, but it's unreal, Bungie. It is unreal that you're going to nerf stasis even more than it already is bad. Like, it's already bad and you're going to nerf it more. Yeah, whatever. That's it for me. Like the video, of course you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, and watch the videos on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like it, and I'll catch y'all later.